Hello, my name is Johnstone, and today I want to unbox a very complicated sounding word that affects all of us on both a socioeconomic and cultural dynamic, and that is gentrification. As the son of two parents who are contractors, the housing crisis in California is very close to home and gentrification's role in it. Imagine living in your home for the past 40 years. It's where your life happened and it's where your family's life has happened. And a new wave of people move into your neighborhood and just begin to change the neighborhood so much so that you can't recognize what neighborhood you even live in anymore. And all of a sudden the property taxes are raised and your rent becomes too high and you are forced out of the home that you've lived in your whole life. Well, this is exactly what happened in Lin-Manuel's In the Heights to Abuela Claudia in Crescent Heights. And although it's a fictional story, it's mirrored across the nation. Ruth Glass first defined gentrification as a way to categorize population growth in London suburbs in 1964. But what does it actually look like in a more modern sense? Well, according to Dr. Ebenezer, gentrification is the upgrading of devalued or deteriorated property by the middle class or affluent people. Gentrification's effects are widespread from coast to coast, from Charleston, South Carolina, to Portland, Oregon, to New York City, and even San Francisco, California. And in each of these metropolitan areas, their effect is very different. Now, at the heart of my TED Talk, I would like to talk about if gentrification is progress or destruction. And that's the debate that has been going on for centuries. And as Spike Lee said, progress and keeping cultural autonomy is not mutually exclusive. As stated by Spike Lee, why does it take an influx of white New Yorkers in South Bronx, in Harlem, in Bed-Stuy, in Crown Heights for the facilities to get better? And that's what I'm going to get at. As you can see, or what causes gentrification? Well, one theory is the suburban exodus, where new millennials who are more affluent than the residents who live in the current areas in the urban centers move into the areas and begin to change things, create new amenities, rise property values, create better schools, lower crime rates. And this is what causes gentrification at its root. As you can see in this chart, in gentrifying areas, the prices of homes actually increased $7,000, while in non-gentrifying areas, the property value actually decreased by nearly $3,000. And at this point, you might be asking, well, what's so wrong about gentrification if all of these things sound so great? Lower crime rates, better aesthetic, more amenities? Well, that's exactly what I'll get to. Gentrification is comparable to modern colonialism. The increase in rent, property taxes, and cultural desecration creates communities that are no longer home to the people who've lived in them for such a long time. In 15 New York City suburbs and neighborhoods, rent increased by over 30%. This drives people out of their homes who couldn't afford the different changes in costs, who have lower socioeconomic standings. Groups are disproportionately affected by gentrification, such as single-parent households, the elderly, lower socioeconomic standing families, and single-parent households. And this is not okay because when you push people out of their homes and they don't have the socioeconomic resources to move anywhere else, a lot of times they have nowhere to go. As you can see in this map of the San Francisco Bay Area, the purple areas on the map are the areas that are being gentrified, and the orange areas are the places that people are being displaced to. And as you can tell, the purple areas that are being gentrified are in the urban centers where the jobs and the amenities are, and the people being displaced are being displaced onto the outskirts where they have to pay more to get to work. They have to pay more for the trains, the subway, and to drive to work. And that even lowers the playing field even more. Furthermore, cultural loss is a very big problem in our communities. Culture holds our communities together, and it's what makes a community a community. And so it's important to remember that when looking at why culture matters. And that brings me to my next point. You might be wondering, why does culture matter? After all these economic things that are helping so many people, why does culture matter so much? And culture matters because it's our identity. It's what holds us together. It's the fabric of who we are. It's manifest in our language, in our religion, in our music, and even the way we speak to each other. And that is why it's important to continue to preserve our culture and the cultures that make our communities so great in the first place. Claudia and Alyssa, two researchers that I have worked with, had the opportunity to go to Chicano Park, a Hispanic park in Barrio Logan or Chula Vista. And they actually spoke with people there during an anti-gentrification protest and an anti-protest of that protest. And if you can see in these pictures, there are murals adorning the different underpasses and artwork that adorn the different walls. And that is basically a testament to how much the community loves their Hispanic culture. And that shouldn't be threatened. And actually, during their time there, they had the opportunity to interview a UCLA graduate and get her thoughts on gentrification. If it can play. Okay, well, I guess we can't look at what she said, but it was really good. And she basically talked about why does it take all these different people moving into the same area to create better amenities for the people living in it. So what does the solution to all these problems entail? Well, basically, a place to start is rent control. And everyone throws around rent control willy-nilly and says, oh, we need rent control here, we need rent control there. But rent control is only used in specific areas. So basically what rent control would do is create rent caps for certain tenants who have lower socioeconomic standards, and so they aren't pushed out of their home by ballooning rent prices. Another way people can go is to have community development boards. And basically what community development boards would be, they'd be a group of people who are from the community itself, and they represent the culture thereof. And those people would either accept or deny any projects by real estate firms or anything happening in the community and make sure that the real estate projects that are being built affect everyone and help everyone, not just the wealthy or not just the new people that are moving into the community. And this would basically mitigate predatory practices by large real estate corporations. Lastly, I would like to leave you with a quote by Helen DeGale. Real, sustainable community change requires the initiative and engagement of community members. Thank you.